Greg, so sorry. But first off, hello everybody, and welcome to the FinsTalk post-game show here on FTSN. First of the season, not a good one, obviously. We're gonna get into it, but Sammy, Greg, apologize. Right when I hit live, I heard you say Bobby. Oh crap! Wait, I was like,
we're good. We're good.
Apologize, sir.
No
We can catch up right after, I'm sure. But we got a good all-star crew with us today, of course. I'm Bobby FinsTalk, joined always on the post-game show with my brother from another mother, FinStanza, who's ready to go. Trust me, because he called me as soon as the clock hit 0. And of course, the boss of Fins TV, the one and only Fins Sammy. Glad he popped in here. And of course, co-host of Fins Talk Overtime, Greg Maney. Great to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, we wish we were here for better circumstances, but we're not. The Miami Dolphins I don't even know how to say they laid an egg, because it's just worse. They laid a stinky, dirty, uneatable, undigestible egg in Indianapolis. I mean, just a disgusting performance by the Miami Dolphins. There is no defense. I don't see any way anybody could defend what we saw today on our screens, and for those who traveled to Indianapolis. For Miami, win, lose, or draw. If it was a close loss, I think FinStanza, I think it was 24-23. I think that's how you had it. FinStanza picked the Colts to win the game, but he had 24-20. That would be different. That would be a different discussion, because we talk about a couple things like, hey, if Tua didn't throw that INT, or if McDaniel didn't call that challenge, that would be a different discussion, because you could look forward to ahead and how they could adjust. What we saw today was a team that was not prepared. They did not show up ready to play football. It was embarrassing on the highest order as a Dolphins fan, as a father raising his kids as Dolphin fans, to sit with my son who's excited to watch the game, and 2 plays in, he's saying, bench the quarterback because of an ugly interception. It was hard to watch. It was a tough pill to swallow. So just going to be straightforward with all you tuning in, and I appreciate you all tuning in. It's not going to be a friendly show. It's only week 1. I get it. I understand we're going to say that, right, Evan? We're going to hear it's only week 1. We understand that, guys. And we're going to pray that it turns around. But if you watch today's game, and there is not an inkling in your body going, holy crap, we're screwed, there's something wrong with your vision. All around, this team played terrible. Greg, my good friend Greg, one of the best in the biz, he sent me this right away. It was Larry Zonka. And I mean, it was so perfect, Greg. He wrote, right, unprepared, uninspired, unacceptable. This, and Evan will take it away. I know he will. But I'm going to say, this game, it's only week 1. This game was a giant indictment on Mike McDaniel. If it was a loss, but it was a 24-23 loss like Evan predicted, this would be a different discussion. Evan might be saying the same stuff. He wouldn't have that much ammunition. But we could have some arguments, right? We can have a back and forth. There's no argument. You don't come into week 1 into Indianapolis and play like that. It was embarrassing. It was disgusting. So, welcome to the first episode of this season for the FinStalk post-game show. I'm Bobby FinStalk. We're fired up. Let's get it rolling. We'll start first with FinStanza. Evan, 8-33. As you see the wanted posters, Mike McDaniel wanted, posing as a head coach. Tua Tagovailoa wanted. He lied. He says he was going to show us who he was. No, he didn't lie. He showed us who he was today. Your initial reaction to today's game?
The fact that I could be shocked by how poor this team would play should shock all of you. The fact that this team is the first time in this century that the Miami Dolphins did not make one defensive stop. This is the first time since 1977 that a team, the Indianapolis Colts, went the entire game without scoring on every single possession that they had. Every single possession. The Dolphins made Daniel Jones look like Josh Allen. He's the first quarterback since Troy Aikman to run for 2 touchdowns and throw for 250 yards. The Miami Dolphins, whether they are bad on paper or not and thin at any position, whether they didn't put their money, they didn't take money out of their pockets because it's a reset year. No, everyone wants Greer fired. Everyone wants Ross to sell the team. It doesn't matter, and I said this on pregame show to you and Sammy, it doesn't matter how poor your team is. Every team hires a head coach. The same way a school board hires a principal. The same way a fire department hires a battalion chief fire captain, or a police officer has the chief of police. There's a leader that leads the men out into battle. And when a team heads into battle, after 2 disappointing seasons over the last year, a coach heading into his 4th year, he is the exact same. His head is in his play call sheet. My number one issue with Mike McDaniel is he has no sense or feel for a football game. It was 17-0. Tua is laughing, sitting next to Darrell Bevel. His faith is in the play call sheet. There were 2 opportunities for Mike McDaniel to challenge. One of them was the Tyreek Hill catch. He didn't even attempt. Why? He doesn't know what's going on. He's relying on other people to tell him what's happening during the course of the game. It is inexcusable. It is unacceptable. It's deplorable. Tua had an awful football game. Uncharacteristic of him, but it seems when he throws 1 interception, he throws 3, and he was completely lost. What was interesting about his turnovers today is that he had time in the pocket on all 3. He could have got rid of ball on the fumble. He tried to run and didn't protect the football. And on the 2 interceptions, he had so much time in the pocket, he could have thrown to anybody. And he didn't even try to throw to a great wide receiver. And I don't know where he was. The ball sailed to Hill. But the way that this was playing out, I said to myself, and I know I troll about Devon Achane, but they used him as a 220-pound power back when they have Ollie Gordon, who got the ball twice. And on the only good play Mike McDaniel did all game is on a short yardage. He gave it to Ollie Gordon. First down, easy. I listened to Fins Faithful with George and Sammy and Sarni and Ace and Sadman and Act Group before and Bobby Shouts and all that. And it was almost I was like watching a repeat of Fins Talk Overtime with me and Greg and Brett. And I got disappointed. I said before the show to Sammy, why didn't you bring up what we talked about on the pregame show? Because it's exactly what all they were talking about. This is a fireable offense. I go, of course it's a fireable offense, but what did anyone expect? Mike McDaniel is making everybody else around him worse. Anthony Weaver, awful today. I'm the first who bragged about Anthony Weaver, but he was awful today. Where was that pass rush? Where was I told you, Bobby, at the pregame show with Sammy. Tyler Warren was going to be, I told you on the first drive, if they score on the first drive and the Dolphins don't respond and have the lead, they're going to lose the football game. And that's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. The moment they fell behind, they couldn't catch up. Everything that Greg and Brett have taught me over the years, watching it today, it just reminded me of how awful this head coach is. The players need to be accountable, but you can't fire 53 players. The GM, it is what it is. The thin roster, I understand. But if they, like you said, Bobby, had they lost 24-23, had they lost, there's no more lopsided loss than the Miami Dolphins today. The Browns kept themselves in the game with Joe Flacco. Cam Ward in his first game stayed close for most of it. The game back and forth with Atlanta and Tampa, with Penix. There's so many good stories of games today. The 2 worst teams on the field today were the Lions and and everyone brags about Dan Campbell and the Dolphins. I gave this stat before, Bobby, and then I'll pass it along. Greg and I talked about that within the 2 deep safety set, you need to get the ball to your best players, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. In the last 2 years, where Tyreek Hill gets 100 yards or more, the team is 11-0. They're 7-16 when he doesn't. The only guy who looked like he gave a crap today was Tyreek Hill getting pissed when they were down 17-0 while Tua was laughing. All I could say for me, I'm not disappointed in what happened today because I've been able to set myself my expectation. I get ripped to shreds for my terrible analysis by the people in the chat. But if you're going to rip my analysis, you're going to rip Greg's, and you're going to rip Brett's, and you better go on to Fins Faithful and rip his. You better go rip Big O. You better go rip Dudley Do Wrong. You better go rip up Reason. You better go rip Sammy, because now everybody is saying exactly what Greg has been teaching me for a number of years, coaching football. This team does not know what the heck they're doing. You set up the running game to generate the passing game. They kept on using H and Ingold. What are you throwing the ball to Alec Ingold on a 1 yard or like a 1 yard flip? How many times did he miss his receiver saying Mr. Accuracy? They've had 6 months to figure this out. And I don't care how bad Tua was today and how bad the defense was today. The number one consistency over the last 4 years that has consistently been bad is your leader who takes you out on that football field. And it is enough. I'm not surprised by this. I expect him to stink because as long as the guy is looking in the play call sheet, he does not know what's going on in the game. Bobby, 2-point conversion. He's 4 years into the league. How many times did I say game management? Calling a timeout. Running out of time on plays. The 3 timeouts they called were not even to generate anything. It was to stop clock so they maybe would get the ball back. There was no strategy. There was no game plan. It was the exact same crap we saw all of last season. So for me, I wasn't upset when I was watching the game because I go to myself, this is actually worse than I expected. Like I told you I'd be on pins and needles, and I was on pins and needles, and it was the same moron in a beautiful open air stadium where it was 70, 80 degrees, wearing a jogging suit that someone would wear when it's minus 50. With his weird sunglasses, with the play call sheet, the only time he showed emotion was at the end of the game when the 2-point conversion go, oh no, I made a mistake. The floor is to your guys, but guys, everyone is saying how surprised they are by this and how bad we should feel for people. Don't feel bad. Realize that as long as this guy leads you into battle, he's never been look at Aaron Glenn today. The guy's a former football player. Bobby, you wanted Doug Peterson, former football player. You wanted people who've been in football. Mike McDaniel is a number cruncher. He is a guy who goes into a lab and designs plays. He's obsessed with the passing game, but he doesn't use the passing game properly. His passing game is chunk plays. All I could say today is that if you were surprised by what happened today, I apologize to you that you now are coming to the realization that this team is just fundamentally poorly designed, poorly managed. And by the way, I know Greg's going to go on this. They weren't great today and there were injuries. Do not blame this game on the offensive line because when Tua made his mistakes, it wasn't on the offensive line. That was purely on game planning, spreading the ball out, not you. And Nick Westbrook get Keeney. You have this big, ginormous guy you get the ball to him once in garbage time. Unbelievable. This team is so poorly led. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Greg?
Oh, yeah, you're going to make me follow Evan.
Sorry, I'm
By
sorry.
the way,
I did that to Sammy earlier, so I thought I'd let you go this time.
Greg, you taught me everything, so it's like I'm spitting your stuff.
I was this close to disconnect my camera and my microphone. Like, good, everybody just leave because of that. Again, how am I going to follow that?
I got to make sure Evan goes last. I apologize. That's on me.
I'm just teasing.
No, I can't argue with anything Evan said. And Bobby, you brought it up earlier. I sent you this when I saw it from Larry Zonka, uninspired and unprepared. All right. That's the part that I can't get. This is the first game of the year. You had months to prepare for this. Okay. I haven't seen the All 22. I don't think it's out yet. And I'll watch it, sometime this week. But we know what the defenses have been doing to Miami's offense for the last year plus. They're bunching all the DBs and stuff like that in the middle of the field, And you've had a year plus to figure out how to beat that defense, and you're not. Tua's turnovers in the middle of the field today. All right. A couple of the passes, he threw one to Hill and one to Waddle that basically they got hit so hard after they caught the ball, they had to take themselves out of the game because there's so many people in the middle of the field. The second interception, he scrambled. There were players open outside, but he automatically looked toward the middle of the field. I don't know what the problem is, but unprepared, uninspired. And for week one against Daniel Jones, all right. I wasn't on the pregame show, but I sent a message in, a comment in saying that Daniel Jones is probably one of the worst quarterbacks starting today. All right. He did things that people haven't done this century today against the Miami Dolphins because you let him. It's Daniel Jones. All right. And the defense couldn't stop him. We said over the summer, okay, that this DB's group is not good. They're just not. We were hoping the front seven was going to make some plays. The front seven didn't do much today. All right. They contained Jonathan Taylor. Taylor didn't have a great game. They didn't have a great rushing game. But they can't cover anybody. And Daniel Jones lit up this secondary. That's not good. Okay? I mean, Daniel Jones is probably no better the 14th or 15th best quarterback on the roster, that Miami's playing this year. It's going to get a lot worse. And Daniel Jones looked this good against them. I don't know. I'm kind of like Sammy. I'm kind of at a loss here. I don't know what more to say. If you're going to get blown out, at least look like you're trying. If at least look like you have some kind of preparation going on. All right, delay of games, rushing to snap the ball at the end of the play clock, 12 men on the field. All right, delay of games, and it's the same old stuff over and over and over again, and it is frustrating, especially week one. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you could be this ill prepared to start the season, and it showed today.
Sammy,
listen.
Oh, he said it like listen.
Listen. I've been a fan of this team for, I'm not gonna age myself, but let's say over 35 years. I've been hurt. I've been disappointed. I've been in a loss for words many times. When we lost to the Chargers, when we lost to the Bills, when we lost to the Jaguars in that Marino final game, when Dan Marino tore his Achilles, but I've never been as frustrated to the point of being mad as I am today. Mike McDaniel had the entire offseason to prepare for this game. I expected, I thought, and people criticize it. No, they're not going to show you anything in preseason, because you're worried too much about a pregame, about a preseason game, and there's no plan because they're not showing it. And you see that, okay, there are things that doesn't have to do with the game plan. But you're overreacting. I'm sure. Okay. Now can we overreact now? Is it fit to overreact now? Because right now, if you want to say I'm overreacting, fine, I'm overreacting. But I'm mad. I'm mad about my daddy because he had the entire offseason to prepare for this game. And I granted some weird things happened in week one. But Mike McDaniel knows what's at stake for him this season. They look unmotivated. They look unprepared. They look like the 2023 Miami Dolphins without Tua, with Tua under the helm. That's how they look like. They look awful. They look just awful. And the defense is like that only prepared for Jonathan Taylor to run the ball, and they didn't have any answers for anything else. It's just absurd, if you ask me. And I'm really worried about Tua. I've been called a two an ear. I've been called a two on. I've been called many things. I'm a Tua supporter because he's my quarterback. But I'm really frustrated with Tua right now. Tua today look unmotivated. He looked weak. His arm looked weak. He looks slow. At times, he looks really slow. He looked dumb because, come on, you have a blitzer, and that's the strong side. You're looking at him, and you let him give you back to you and rush you. I've never seen that from Tua. And what Evan said, I hate the fact that they go to the sideline and act like they're having a party. Mm-hmm. I was criticized when they were dancing too much. Granted, I'm probably because I'm from a different era, for the Marino era, and so many things. And sometimes that kind of thing bothers me too much. Granted, today's game is different. You're right about that. But I hate the fact that they go to the sidelines and they act like no one cares. It's mind-boggling to me. I'm so pissed. I was in a loss for words. Talking to George Jason Sarney, the guys at Fins Faithful, that I had to say, but I said, Bobby, please let me in, because now my voice is back. Please let me in to go into the post game. We had kind of talked about who's going to be here, but I told Bobby around 5 p.m. Please let me in, because I had to scream at somebody here. Not at you, Bobby, not at Greg or not at Evan, but you know what I mean. It's so frustrating. I've never been this pissed off in my fandom as a Miami Dolphins fan. Never. And it's an opening season game. We deserve it. My heart goes out to those fans who traveled to Indy today to see that pile of crap, because they deserve better. Every single fan all around Fins Nation deserve better. But those guys who traveled after the team, they go to Indianapolis, they have so much hope to see that. My heart goes out to Lisa and so many others that love this team and deserve so much better. I'm pissed. I'm pissed at Chris Greer because, at times I supported Chris Greer, but because I sometimes believe that some of the criticism in some areas that he gets is unwarranted, because there's some things he's done right. The things he's done wrong, he's done wrong. But Chris Greer knew what he was getting into. This offensive line is a mess. And you have a frail quarterback who's around 6 feet, 6'1" maybe, and you don't have the offensive line in front of him to protect him. And someone said to me, "You're making excuses." But I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying the fact. I said it before, and I'm going to say it again. Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes will never be the players they are behind that offensive line. That's the truth. So Chris Greer, that offensive line sucks. That's on you. Those defensive backs, those receivers, those Indy wide receivers were wide open at times. Wide open. The pass rush, but it is what it is. The only thing I remember of the pass rush was Judon basically hitting so hard that Joe didn't even care, and rushing into the kicker in the punt. That's all the thing that I remember of the pass rush. I'm pissed.
So,
Bobby?
Sammy, how do you really feel? Are you mad about the situation? I'm just kidding.
A little bit, Bobby. A little bit.
My goodness. No, I hear you. And let's just go, because this is a team game. It absolutely is a team game. It's not on one player. However, we always go and start and end with the quarterback. And even though it's a whole team effort, and the entire team really was playing horrible, from the defensive line showed nothing.
Everybody.
The secondary, obviously, the O-line, all of the above. It just was the coaching staff, all of it. But let's not ignore the fact what Tua did today. You could say what you want, whether you believe in him, whether you don't, franchise not, whatever, wherever you stand, we could all say what we saw today was not what we're used to seeing. This was a very different type of situation. I mean, these were bad throws. This was like right where it, just boneheaded decisions, right where it needed to be. I mean, right, and by what needed to be, meaning right into the defender's gut, not in his receiver, right into the linebackers and the corner, their gut, and then fumbling it. So you had 3 total turnovers, I believe. I don't know if you had any more. I know 2 INTs, I think 1 fumble. It was embarrassing. And what makes it worse is, yes, the laughing on the sideline, when you just threw an INT, even though it's early in the game. I want to see you pissed. Go, getting angry, trying to figure this out, trying to, show some sort of intention. Not after the game, sitting there talking about, turn it over in bunches. Well, that's an interesting comment. And getting all butthurt because a reporter called you out because you don't know how to hold on to the damn ball. You're giving it to the other team. But you're going to be hurt and have a little bit of an attitude because you play like trash. Tua Tagovailoa. That's where he was today. I mean, every time I never, ever, watching Tua all these years, and I'm not a Tua stan, I'm not a Tua hater. He's my quarterback. I wish him luck on Sundays. I cheer him on. But this was the first time ever, because I never, when he's in the game, the only time I don't feel comfortable with him is when he gets hit.
Yeah.
That's when I go, ooh. But when he throws the ball, I'm okay. It doesn't for today was not that day. Today, every time he got ready to throw, I got nervous, Greg. It was not a good day for the quarterback. And we're talking about people already said, and I'm not knocking him because I think this kid he could develop into possibly something. But we're talking about people already going on Twitter saying, "Oh, put in the 7th round, 3rd string quarterback. That's it. Let's go." That's how. And it wasn't like you're just saying it because you don't like Tua. No, Tua played bad. This was a bad play, a bad day for Tua Tagovailoa. I don't know. And what made it worse, again, it's not, sometimes guys have bad days. We get it, right? We've watched football, no matter how old you are. We've watched football, especially this group here. We watched football our whole lives. We've seen good, great quarterbacks have bad games. But what made it worse was he looked like he was having a good damn time on that sideline. What made it worse was the press conference afterwards. That's what made it worse. No accountability. No going, you know what, guys? I played terrible. I put my team in a bad situation. I need to go back and make this better. He's worried about what a reporter said. You turned over the ball in bunches. Oh, that's an interesting comment. I turned it in bunches. Yeah, you did. Yes, you did. You didn't protect the football. That's your job. Protect the ball. Get it to your guy. You have Tyreek freaking Hill. Are you kidding me? How many quarterbacks would die to have Tyreek Hill standing there and their receiver group? Jalen Waddle, if he could stay on the field for a whole game or a whole half. Devon Achane, whether you believe he's a good running back, a mid-quarter running back, whatever, Greg said it earlier. Nobody works harder than that kid. He is probably one of the most consistent guys on our offense. But believe me, about that, he fought hard for that touchdown. That's what he is. You have him there. How are you playing like that? Tua played terrible today, and he did not do himself or Tua stands any favor. It's crazy that week 1 feels like week 18. We're ready to turn it in, and that's the way they played. They played like I see Chris in the comments there. And shout out to everyone who's watching. Forgive me if I'm not acknowledging every comments. No. Wait, I'll just respond right there. Daniel, everybody, no one is giving Anthony Weaver a freaking pass. I don't think anybody even said that. I don't know where that's coming into play or where that was said. The whole team, the head coach, the OC, the DC, the quarterback, the running backs, the offensive line. I don't care what you want to say. Nobody gets a pass. Anthony Weaver does not get, trust me. FinStanza is banging the table for Anthony Weaver to be the head coach, right? But I guarantee you, I bet you don't feel. No, I'm sorry, Evan. Just let me say. I guarantee you're not feeling that right now. I watched him today. I'm saying this guy's not ready for that either. None of these guys were. It's ridiculous. But anyway, Joseph Bell, what's up, my man? Adrian of the Rainy Day Podcast. Steve Malloy, what's up, my brother? Looking forward to you coming back. Russ Morgan, got your solution. Play Zach Wilson. Octane Genius, Ray Finkel. Chris, of course, Hunter, DSG, what's up, my brother? Reefer Fish. Let me see. Make sure I don't want to miss Theodore Smith. We got a lot of people tuning in. I saw 305 Sports Babe in the house. Great to see you. Michael Darling, what is up? Let's see. Doll's Diaries coming back this Tuesday. Great to see you. Dahl there. I know she's going to have a lot to talk about. Ralph Love, great to see you as well. But there is no passes today. Nobody's getting a freaking pass. Not one. Maybe Ollie Gordon, because he only had 2 attempts, which was ridiculous. I almost put on our overlay there, missing. Have you seen this man? Because what the hell? I thought we were supposed to be we were going to start turning the page and being a power team and being physical. You have a physical back who every time he touches the ball, it's a positive play, and we're going to run H-in 20 times or do some stupid little behind the line. That made no sense. But wait, we're not getting to McDaniel yet or the coaching staff because no one's getting a pass. We're talking about Tua turnover Vailoa, our starting quarterback. There's no excuse. I don't want to hear about the offensive line. I mean, we know what the offensive line is, but this had nothing to do with the offensive line. The offensive line did not make Tua play like ass today. Let's just be real here. It was all on Tua. Okay? And very quick, and sorry, I just said that, and I remember too. I saw earlier AJ Atia in the comments. I know that's not Alex, maybe he is, but I know that's Jake, my nephew. Love you, buddy. Saw you there. Forgive me for what I said, but all good. Anyway, all right. Evan is going last. I'm going to start with Sammy, then Greg, and then Evan on Tua turnover Vailoa. Sammy, I know you touched on it. If you want to go quickly, hammer it home with Tua. You're muted, sir. Unmute your mic.
Because I'm confessed I do some stuff for Fins TV, so I have to.
You're good, brother.
I'm sorry about that. I defended Tua. I've been called to it again. I've been called to a stand. I've been called to an ear. I've been called to an on. Everything. He's my quarterback, and I'm gonna defend him to the grave against any other franchise, even after enemies local and from above, like they say. But today, he has no defense. He had just like my brother, he had the whole offseason to prepare for this game. And if the body language saw him like he didn't care. Body language tells a lot. The same way we criticize Tyreek Hill for what he did, and Tyreek Hill today made an effort to try to look engaged and caring. I don't know if he's sincere or not. I'm not gonna go into that, but he tried to look like he cared. He tried to give the perception that he cared. He tried to fight like he cared. But what was and I love to. What's the deal? Is he too cool? Is he too cool to care? You will never. Again, Dan Marino would never have done that today or any other day. And after the press conference, you can see Dan Marino every single week saying, "It's on me. I'll take the blame. I'll be better." And sometimes he calls someone out. Yes. But he didn't act like Tua acted today. Like everybody's making a huge fuss about it. It's no big deal because that's the perception I got. That really gets me pissed. That really gets me mad because one of the other characteristics I wanted, or for the reason I wanted Tua is for his character, like a leader of he cared that he played to a standard in Alabama. So I expected more from him. But as of today, after what happened today, I had to rethink everything I ever thought to. I'm that pissed with Tua, McDaniel, the whole Miami Dolphins today. Bobby.
All right, Greg. To you, sir.
For me, it's his 7th year and it's decision-making process. He continues to make bad decisions, all right? And usually those lead to turnovers with him. He doesn't hang on to the football. He doesn't see free rushers coming. He doesn't know how to handle it. And then his throws today and where he was going with the ball, like I said earlier, he got 2 players hurt. Basically, they had to catch the ball and come off the field, all right, because he led them into traffic. And then the other parts of it, he's always thrown over the middle of the field. And defenses are basically just, if he's buying time, if he's doing something, they migrate to the middle of the field, and it just creates more problems. Here's the thing that I find amazing today. You had Tua, who has led the league in passing, and Daniel Jones on the same field. The QBR stat for Daniel Jones today was 87.8, all right, out of 100. Tua's was 2.7. Tua got that badly outplayed by Daniel Jones. And again, I'm going to uninspired and unprepared. That's what we can say McDaniel did. We can say the entire team did. It's also Tua. He's got to be better than that.
Yes.
All right. He just has to be better than this, especially this late in his career. Did you watch Cam Ward today? He was making good decisions. He made a few bad ones, but he's a rookie, right? There's a difference between playing your first game in the NFL and being in your seventh year. You can't excuse it anymore. You can't excuse it anymore. He was not being pressured. He was not. There was nothing that he hasn't seen before, and he turned the ball over like this. It's beyond frustrating. And we're going to talk about signs of things to come. Yeah, this is not a good way to start. So I'll let Evan talk about this a little bit here.
Yeah, I'll say too, Daniel, Bobby Tua played bad today, but he's my QB, and I'm going to defend him to the end. Hey, he's our quarterback. He's our starting quarterback. We're going to root for him on Sundays, but you're absolutely right. He did play bad today. Go start Zach Wilson and see what happens. What happened today? What's going to be the difference? What would be the difference if we started Zach Wilson today? 33-0? Would that be the score?
Well, Zach Wilson's QBR was 16.5.
There you go. So I get it. And I'm with you. Hey, maybe, just maybe, and more than likely, he'll have a better game next week. And we'll say somebody's going to go, I told you, you guys are ready to give up on him after week one. Let's go game by game here. Week one, he played terrible.
Yes.
What happened if we would have started Zach Wilson, then see what happens? Exactly what happened today. Terrible. He played Zach Wilson football, if that's what we want to do. So, Evan, have fun.
I haven't spoken in 25 minutes as a record in my life. That's pretty amazing. I've said this for a long time. I think I've said this to you, Bobby, many, many a times, and I said this to Greg on overtime. Tua got his contract. Mike McDaniel walked into Stephen Ross's office and banged the table to give him that contract. Yes, when Mike McDaniel was hired, he was saddled with Tua because he didn't get any other interviews. He wanted to be a head coach. He chose Tua. But I said that the reason why Tua Tagovailoa will fail with the Miami Dolphins, going back to the beginning of last year, is Mike McDaniel. Because he has been put on a pedestal by a guy who can't keep him upright. So Tua is so confused on what to do. He's not an independent thinker. He's a robot. He does what Mike McDaniel tells him to, because he thinks he owes Mike McDaniel something for saving his career and getting him his bag. I always make the joke that they go over for sleepovers together. If you look today, I think, Greg, I wrote this to you, and Brett, the reason why he was turning over the ball is he actually had to think for a moment. Wait, what do? I don't have Mike McDaniel in my ear to tell me what to do. Mike McDaniel tries to control everything around him. He doesn't. You may think, oh, it's a party atmosphere. Everyone's getting along. Everything's fantastic. But there's still a guy there who does what he wants, when he wants, how he wants, and that's how the players act. There's no sense of responsibility. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, even Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar, you think they're coming to the sideline after having three consecutive turnovers and sitting on the bench next to Darrell Bevel and having a conversation like, oh, let's relook at the play at what I did wrong? Tua Tagovailoa is a failure as a quarterback, who I will continue to defend as our quarterback as long as he's our quarterback, because of Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel has not taken the leash off of Tua. Tua doesn't know how to change the ball, change the play at the line of scrimmage because Mike McDaniel doesn't let him. The moment Tua doesn't do what Mike McDaniel tells him to do, he feels like he's a fish out of water. He can't swim. And today, it showed. He didn't feel independent-minded, and he continues to make mistakes. And I don't want to hear, we talked about the pregame show, I don't want to compare him to any other quarterback. Tua's had moments of flash, but today was a lack of preparation. And when you think about it, Darrell Bevell could be his quarterback coach every single time you tell him whatever. In the end, the person in his ear is Mike McDaniel. To throw the ball to Achane or Alec Ingold, or not throw the ball to Nick Westbrook, or to spot throw to Water in a hospital play, or to throw. Those are plays where those are his first reads. When he's waiting in the pocket and sailing one over Tyreek or fumbling the football, that is on Tua. But Tua is a 7-year quarterback who's still sort of feeling the odds of a rookie because he should have been redshirted the first year. Flores didn't have any faith in him. So really his first real chance of a rookie year was with Mike McDaniel. He had a good year. Mike McDaniel guided him and led him, but I think it was a whole thing. But now it's almost as if, Mike always said this in the rebuild, Mike McDaniel would have been the right coach in 2019, not now. And because he has players like Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb and Minka Fitzpatrick and Zach Sealer, who are veterans, who don't need a coach like this. When people, there's no intelligence there. So Tua has actually become worse and regressed under Mike McDaniel. Go look at his stats. He had one great year in 2023, but then they faltered. And he hasn't been able to keep him upright for 2 years. And on the first game of the year, you had all offseason to get him healthy, ready to go. And on every chance that Tua had, Tua right now, his biggest mistake is continuing to be in the shadow and the guidance of Mike McDaniel. As long as Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel are a combo, this team will never win jack crap. They will never win. One of them, and by the way, I will tell you this right now. If Tua goes somewhere else next year and Mike McDaniel's gone, Tua will find a way to be successful somewhere else because Baker Mayfield did it, Geno Smith did it. They all have a way to do it. This head coach is by far the worst thing that can happen to Tua right now. He's the last thing. Tomorrow, going to look at tape, you want Mike McDaniel to be telling you what to be doing next after today's performance? Tua is responsible for his performance today. But you learn from people. You go into a classroom. The teacher teaches you, then you have to perform. But if the teacher is not a good teacher, you're going to fail. I'm sure you guys have all had this when you guys were in school. The teacher that is the easiest with you, even though he might be your favorite teacher, your best friend, are the teachers you end up doing the poorest with. Tua needs a guy who's a quarterback guru who can kick him in the goddamn ass. Flores had the right mindset, but he was a defensive guy who didn't believe in it. You need for Tua early in his career, which might be too late now, a pain in the ass coach like a Sean Payton early in his career to get him going. That is Tua's problem. Tua is basically broken toys. He's a broken toy, and you can't put him back together right now because Mike McDaniel has destroyed him.
So I will say I was just reading up on that, Cat. Thanks, Cat, for tuning in about a couple hits that Tua took that they people are kind of keeping their eye on. We won't speculate, but the speculation is out there about Tua taking a couple hits and could there be a concussion situation? Hopefully that's not the case for his his health purpose, but if it is, just get him out of there. But anyway, we won't speculate on that. We'll see what happens there. And I know Sammy on Fins TV will catch up on that, Evan as well, Greg on overtime, and myself as the week goes on. Mary, great to see you in here. I see you in there right now. I'll just say, in regards of McDaniel, which we will jump on right now, and that will be an Evan topic. Well, and I know that sucks for Greg because he has to follow Evan on that. But I will say, I'm going to
interrupt you. A lot of what I've learned, and people.
How dare you? I'm just playing.
a lot of what I want, I'm giving him a compliment. I make a joke sometimes, and I call them my mentors. Brett has taught a lot to me about it, but guys, there's no better teacher if you want to understand football and how things work that I've ever encountered than Greg. Like Greg is one of my here. Like, he's a mentor to me. Like I listen to every word. He knows what he's talking about. But what a lot of what I'm saying, he doesn't counteract a lot of what I'm saying, is because a lot of what I'm saying is what he's taught me.
He doesn't want to hurt your feelings, bro. He doesn't want to hurt your feelings. I'm just playing.
Told me I'm wrong.
I'm just playing.
He told me I'm wrong.
No, so we're gonna get into Mike McDaniel, and again, talking about Mike McDaniel is not giving Anthony Weaver a pass. I just want to put that full disclosure out there. But I'm going to tell you why Mike McDaniel's being highlighted here, just like we'd highlight Tua. Mike McDaniel is the head coach. It is his job to make sure that Frank Smith, Darrell Bevel, Anthony Weaver, Tua Tagovailoa, the defense, the team in general are ready to go on Sundays, Mondays, or Thursdays, whenever it's time to play. It's his job. It falls on him. He's the head coach. Calling out Mike McDaniel is not giving anybody a pass. But guess what? It falls on the head. He's the head. Mike McDaniel did not have his team ready to play today. It was embarrassing from top to bottom. He looked lost out there. How the hell do you look that lost week 1 of the regular season? You weren't even good at pretending to know what the hell you were doing. It was that bad. How do you not have your guys prepared to go? How do you have a whole offseason to prepare for this game and for Daniel Jones? And again, as Greg has brought up, because we know the history of Daniel Jones. Now, I've said full disclosure, I'm not too down on Daniel Jones. He's a Dollar General version, a Temu version of a Josh Allen. He's athletic. He could throw it. When he was coming out, he should not have been drafted where he was drafted. But I say, hey, the kid has potential. We'll see. Maybe he has a Sam Darnold type of season with the Colts. Crap, he looked like it today. Yes, that falls on Anthony Weaver as the DC, but who's the head man? It's Mike McDaniel. He did not have this team ready to go. He, for someone who has, and he got questioned today after the game. And I don't have it here. I had it pulled up earlier. But for someone who has to have some inkling in his head that your job is on the line, you sure as hell didn't coach like it. So, whatever the hell this was today was a joke. It was embarrassing. We could question if Tua, it should still be the quarterback, injury, whatever. There is no question today. There is nothing you saw today. There is not one. We're not giving anybody a pass. But there is nothing no one could say that will make me believe that Mike McDaniel should be coaching his last season in Miami. After today, he should not last until Spain. He should be off this team now. They should leave him in Indianapolis. If he's on the plane in Miami, they messed up already. Evan will take it from here. I will say Mike McDaniel is not a head coach. There is no head coach on this team. It's not Anthony Weaver. It's not Mike McDaniel. It's not Darrell Bevel. It's not Frank Smith. There is no head coach on this team. Culture change? What culture change? Your team played worse than last year in week 1. Start shopping, fellas. Start doing your research, because we should be. If Stephen Ross actually gives a damn about this team, be shopping for a head coach. And it better be a former head coach or a former player. No more IT guys. I don't care how much you like his picture with all the screwed up hair and the big giant glasses. Oh, he's so cool. I love the way he talks. Let's bring him in, man. What did that do for you? Nothing. You got a cool, good interviews. You know what he did? Look what he did for Tua. Let's be real with what he did with Tua. He brought out the best in Tua in regard. He opened up so Tua could play his best ball. Now he's worse for Tua. He's worse for the team. Mike McDaniel is not a head coach. He's whatever the hell he was in San Francisco, pretending to be a head coach. That's what you saw today. That's my 2 cents. We have 305 viewers right now. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. You're watching the Fins Talk post-game show here on FTSN. We got FinStanza in the house. We got Greg Maney. We got Finn Sammy of Fins TV. I hope if you're watching for the first time, you hit that like and subscribe button. I promise it's not as mean or rude as it usually is. But hey, Dolphins deserve this. They played like ass. Evan, I'm sorry, Greg. Evan, you've got the floor.
My buddy DSG is asking if I have something to be positive about. And I said this on the pregame show when the season started. And I posted a tweet this morning that made Sammy laugh. That I'm looking forward to today because it's one day closer to Mike McDaniel being fired. And I don't wish somebody being fired in any job. I don't wish that on anybody. But if one person has earned the right to be fired because the guy was given the job of a lifetime, a team that he could win with unlimited resources, and after 4 years, Brian Flores, which I wasn't a fan of his mentality, but I liked the way he coached in terms of has a better success rate with what he had than you did. And we always make the joke. People were saying on Twitter, don't compare him to Adam Gase or Cam Cameron or Tony Soprano. No player, no team has had a better roster going back to Jimmy Johnson days than Mike McDaniel. Not Dave Wannstedt, not Nick Saban, not Cam Cameron, not Tony Soprano, not Joe Philbin, not Adam Gase, not Brian Flores. Nobody. And nobody has broken more bad records than Mike McDaniel. Bobby sounds like me, saying he's not a head coach. I said that 3 years ago when he lost in San Diego. And they were still in San Diego. They weren't in LA yet. That's how bad he's been. Mike McDaniel is a nice guy. I believe that if he goes back somewhere, goes back to San Francisco like Robert Saleh, becomes a true offensive coordinator, learns the ropes, maybe he could be a head coach again someday. But when you walk into a room and you say, this is my teacher, this is my leader, this is who's going to lead me out, a guy who runs after an interview into the tunnel with his capri shorts, with his capri pants, his multicolored running shoes with the plastic still attached, his big funky sunglasses, and talks word salad after postgame. So the reporters hope that he forgot the question. I don't wish ill on Mike McDaniel, but he is literally taking a fan base and turning them against each other. He's caused a mutiny in Miami. No one wants to be a fan. No one wants to go to these games. People are giving up their season tickets and they continue to raise prices. He has taken away the joy of watching this team. Because even when they would sign a player on Tuesday in 2019 and the guy would play on Sunday, you saw the effort. There was no pass rush. There was no effort by the secondary. There was no effort by the wide receiver core. No one cared today. Where do you get care? From your head coach. Who when you see on all these shows after the game and you see them talking how you think that you want to be a Detroit Lions player after the way they played in Green Bay? You see the anger on Brian? Did you see what happened between Brian Daboll today and Malik Neighbors? I would love to see that between Tyreek and McDaniel. McDaniel, why is Jalen Ramsey not here anymore? You remember why? Mike McDaniel. Why are all the veterans not want to be here? Mike McDaniel. I know why Teron Armstead retired. Mike McDaniel. No one wants to play for this moron. I've called him every name in the book, and it's justified because every single podcast today, and Sammy was on one of them, knows what I've been saying for 4 years, for 3.5 seasons. The guy is not a head coach. He is not a leader of men. He's a selfish SOB. Because when you saw me before in the camera with a paper. When is the last time you saw Mike McDaniel's head up? Bobby. I don't know how it is in Tennessee, or how it is in all the different states, or how it is in San Juan. But you know what you don't do when you drive? You don't text and drive. You don't look at your phone and drive. You don't put your ear to your phone when you drive, right? Why? Lack of concentration. Your head coach's job is not to be looking at their play call sheet. It's supposed to be getting in yelling at Anthony Weaver. How the F is your defense not stopping a play? Do you know that you have not made one stop for my offense today? That we're being destroyed toward 22 minutes to 8 minutes in the first half? Get your effing ass together. No. He is in his play call sheet worrying about the next play. Tyreek Hill's catch, he didn't think about the challenge because he didn't know about it because his head wasn't up. His head is never looking towards the game. If you asked him to score, you asked him to down, he doesn't have a freaking clue because he doesn't care. He cares about himself and his genius play call sheet that he came up with in a lab that we're supposed to be so proud that he wakes up at 3 o'clock in the morning and is there with Butch Berry at 4:30 in the morning coming up with play call sheets. I don't give a crap. Mike McDaniel, you're a head coach. Head coach leads people. They don't design plays that they then decide to distribute throughout the game. You are not Andy Reid. You are not Bill Belichick. You are not Don Shula. You're not John Harbaugh. You're not even Jim Harbaugh. You're not Sean Payton. You're not even Dan frickin' Campbell. Because Dan frickin' Campbell, his head is up most of the game. Mike Tomlin, his head is up during a game. Until you have won something with the way that you coach, then have your face in the play call sheet all I care. But learn how to be a head coach first. This guy should be ashamed of himself. He should be writing a personal letter to every single fan of the Miami Dolphins and saying to them, mea culpa. I am a recovering bad head coach. I need to go to Bad Head Coach Anonymous. Declare I'm a bad head coach. Go through your 12 steps. And then maybe one day you'll get your job back. But until you go through those 12 steps, admitting that you have a problem and there's an intervention, this team is going to be the laughingstock. We are going to be talking about a bottom 3 pick next season, as long as he's our head coach, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So if they want to let him lose, honestly, I'll take it. You want to be 0-17? Go 0-17. But the last thing I want is to hold on to Mike McDaniel for 5 or 6 games, fire him, and then we don't have a chance. And then watch this. We're going to hire an interim head coach. There'll be that boost for 6 or 7 games, and then we'll end up getting the 10th or 11th pick, and we'll screw up again. Make a decision. Fire him tomorrow. Fire him next week. But after week 3, do you understand that Buffalo at this point is going to score 100 points against us? 100 points. That's what's going to happen. We're going to go to on a Thursday night, and we're going to lose 100-7.
I just want to say, because I know people are saying that I'm being Mike McDaniel right now, and I'm Wake Up Bobby. First of all, I was looking at my phone because if I look over here on my computer, everything starts to slow down. Like my computer stalls out. So I have to look at my phone to see any kind of reports, following up on the game, seeing any post-game stuff. So I promise I'm all ears on Evan, but I've been hearing this for 3 years now, I think. So, I mean, it's just a new game. So, but I promise I'm not being Mike McDaniel or anybody here. I'm paying attention. Greg, sir, Coach McDaniel, your thoughts.
All right. So, and I've said this before, okay? You can only call plays and you can only do things that your players can execute. And I think one of the problems that McDaniel has, and I think Weaver has this year as well, is that he's got a limited set of plays that he can call that his players can execute. Now, that said, today was horse crap, okay? They were not ready and they weren't prepared. I don't believe it's the coach's responsibility to get the players fired up to play the game. I believe that's on the players, but it is the coach's responsibility to prepare the team to play. and they weren't prepared today. And that falls on Mike McDaniel. The fact that Mike McDaniel, for over a year now, can't figure out how to beat this defense with these players is basically telling me that he doesn't have an answer. And you know, when you get late in the season, I don't care what level you're in. If you're struggling, at some point the players basically tune you out. Okay? They don't have faith in you figuring out how to make this better. It looked like that today, and it's the first damn week of the season. It kind of looked like the players were like, I don't know what's going to happen here. And that's just a bad place to be week one. And I don't know how this gets better because, again, you know, I keep harping on this. This is Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts. Did anybody, any prognosticator, anybody say that this is going to be a good team this year? Did anybody think the Indianapolis Colts were going to be a playoff team or a division-winning team or anything like that with Daniel Jones as quarterback? No, not in the AFC. This is only going to get tougher. And to be this lost week one, and maybe it is just week one, maybe they will get better, but damn, they had months to prepare for this, and it just, it just looked awful. All right, and then I'm going to make a comment about Weaver as well. Weaver, the defense is so, the defensive secondary is so bad right now that Weaver can't really put a pressure package together and bring extra people because he is afraid to leave those guys on an island. All right. So you can't blitz. So you're counting on that front six to get home. And if they're not getting home like today, that secondary is going to be exposed. I don't care what quarterbacks they're playing against. I mean, as bad as Daniel Jones is, he's still a professional quarterback. All right. He's still capable of making plays when he has to. And it just, yeah, there was just a lot of bad stuff going on today. And I got a feeling it's not going to get much better because I don't think they have answers. And that's a scary thought this early.
Sammy, yeah, Mike McDaniel, and then because Daniel and brought up Anthony Weaver, which that would be in signs of things to come. But talk about Mike McDaniel, your thoughts on today's game, the preparedness, and then what happened with the defensive side of the ball. Go ahead, sir.
I'm going to start. I already said a little bit about Mike McDaniel, so I'm going to start on the defense. I said before that if Mike McDaniel gets fired, I don't think Anthony Weaver is going to even take the interim job. I always say Frank Smith is going to be the interim job. They're not going to expose him to be the interim head coach. I don't think he's going to get exposed to that either. So I don't expect that to happen. It's contagious. It's like a virus. What happened today is like a virus because Anthony Weaver's during the preseason, I made sometimes a statement that the defense looks so much better compared to the offense, more prepared, more professional, more completely different. The offense looked insecure at times, but the defense looked pretty good. Of course, the pass rush today failed. One of the best offensive lines, probably by the end of the season. I would not be surprised if the Colts offensive line is considered one of the best offensive lines in the entire NFL by the end of the season. They have some pretty good players over there, some young players that by the end, when we look back, we say, well, that was a pretty good offensive line. That's why the pass rush didn't work. Might happen, but we don't know that as of now. But as of right now, what happened today, Mike McDaniel, I'm going to say it again, Mike McDaniel had the whole offseason to prepare for this game. He had the whole preseason to prepare for this game, the whole training camp, the whole game plan. And during the preseason, we saw things that made me uncomfortable, like Joe Phillips say, maybe queasy at times. But I was criticized, and somebody was probably everyone was criticized too by someone came, "Oh, this is the preseason, you're making too much of it." There's signs that there are alarms that you can see. There are things that are wrong with Mike McDaniel. So I'm not gonna stand the conversation too much longer because we've talked about this so many times. I'm sure you guys have done it too. But Mike McDaniel, he might be a great play designer. Doesn't mean he's a great play caller. He can design a play, but I'm not very confident when he can call the play to be executed or making sure that the players can execute the play. That worries me a lot. So at the end of the day, if you might be a genius, but if you don't understand what you're saying, you're not a genius, but by any sense of the word. So it is what it is. So Mike McDaniel, your days I basically number because I don't think you're going to be the head coach next year.
And I'll stay with you on this one, Sammy. So, with the way the team played today, and Daniel brings up a great point because there was a lot of talk about that D line with Chop and Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to say full disclosure, and I'm not. And again, it's week 1, so it's not an indictment on the kid or not because it's not fair to do that. But as I was watching Tyler Warren, who was drafted with the 14th pick, I kept thinking about Miami took Kenneth Grant. Where was Kenneth Grant? Where were the times we go, oh, what a play by Kenneth Grant? We kept seeing Tyler Warren. He ran the ball. He caught the ball. He was all over the place. I mean, he was everything as advertised. I understand. Look, I was all about Jahdae Barron with the first pick. I was like, man, we need a corner. Even when we had Jalen Ramsey, all about that. Josh Wingate just popping in the comments here. My co-host on the clock. But as I'm watching Tyler Warren, I think to myself, man, Miami knew they weren't going to pay Jonnu Smith. They knew that more than likely he was going to ask to be traded or they were going to move on. They went into that draft saying, we're not going to focus on a tight end. We're going to sign an undrafted free agent. We're going to roll in. We're going to go ahead and get a guy off the retirement guy. We're going to call him at the retirement home and bring him in. Yeah, he'll play. No, he doesn't even play. He doesn't even see the field. He has a setback. But if you knew that, coulda, woulda, shoulda, Tyler Warren was right there. Think about what Tyler Warren could have done for this offense today. That really rubbed me the wrong way. And, so yes, again, Mike McDaniel did not have his team ready to go, and that goes to everyone. But absolutely, there's no pass on Anthony Weaver. There's a lot of love for Anthony Weaver, and Dolphin fans do that. Fans in general do that. They love the what if. They love Jalen Wright. He's going to be the next big thing. Oh, Chris Brooks. I can throw a bunch of names out there that I've heard over the years. Oh, Miami should start this guy, or Miami should have this guy as the coach. And I'm with you, Sammy. I was like, man, if Mike McDaniel is fired, I don't see Anthony Weaver being the head coach, the interim head coach. It's going to be Frank Smith or Darrell Bevel, one of those guys until the end of the year. That's what would happen. But no, Anthony Weaver did not look good today. His defense did not look good at all because guess what? His defense allowed Daniel Jones to look like almost an elite quarterback. He looked close to Josh Allen today. I say he's a Temu version of Josh Allen. He looked close to being a Josh Allen type QB today. I mean, Anthony Richardson was standing there going, oh, crap, I'm never getting my job back. This is Sam Darnold 2.0. But let me ask you this, Sammy. After watching today, because we know, I said it earlier, Greg brought it up too, and it's so true, and I understand that. It is just week 1. We have a long way to go. What's so bad about this loss is the way it went down in week 1. This is not some mid-season, oh, man, this was a mental hiccup, man. But do you see this as a sign of things to come because we got a long season to go? Or are you going, you know what? This was just a hiccup. They'll be better next week, or maybe give a couple games. They just got to get their foot. After what you saw today, are you like, yeah, I know you said earlier 7-9, 8 and whatever, 8-9. Are you 7-10, 8? So are you still there? Or are you a lot worse? Are you feeling like, no, this was just a hiccup, or is this it?
I'm just laughing about a comment that Gabriel said in the chat. Probably, maybe.
It's true, Adrian. It's true.
Let me put it this way. Peter Schrager has been known for being close with Mike McDaniel. I think they go back. They know each other for a long, long time. Peter Schrager went off the rails on ESPN saying that he believed that he had made that Mike McDaniel knew that people were saying that the Dolphins were gonna go off the rails this season, and that he expected the Dolphins to surprise everybody. That what I got out of that was that he has spoken to Mike McDaniel, and that Mike McDaniel knew what people were saying about him. Even with that, that wasn't enough for this team to be motivated enough and prepared enough. If it has 4 legs, if it has a tail, and if it barks, it's not it's not a pigeon. Probably it's a dog. If it doesn't bite as a puppy, like people used to say, doesn't bite like a little dog. So I see nothing that makes me believe that Mike McDaniel will be able to find a way to do something different for the next 16 games. I said it for a long time. I said it before. I think I said it to you. I said it to George. I said it on Fins TV. We're gonna know very early, probably week 1, what this team is made of. If the Dolphins won today, I will feel the same confidence saying, okay, we have a chance. But that's not what happened. Mike McDaniel failed today. I have no confidence in Mike McDaniel doing that for the rest of the season. So for me, it's a sign of things to come. I expect only to get worse.
Greg?
I think his hands are tied. I think Weaver's hands are tied. Look, this was a good matchup for Miami, technically. All right. They weren't facing a high-powered quarterback with a high-powered passing game against a weak secondary. This was going to be potentially, having to stop Jonathan Taylor with our front 7. And I thought we had some advantages on the outside. All right, with our quarterback and our wide receiver. This was a good. Like you said, this was a good matchup, and we got dog stomped. All right, in this game, and I do think this is a sign of things to come. Indianapolis had almost 40 minutes of possession time. I mean, they might have had 40 minutes of possession time. They ran 70 some odd plays to Miami's 40. If our defense can't get off the field against this offense, wait until we start playing some good teams. You know what I mean? On offense. That's where I'm at. I can't be too surprised by the offense because we've basically seen it for the last year plus. All right. But the defense should have been better today. And them not being able to get off the field against Daniel Jones, I just think that portends bad things the rest of the season. And they got to get something figured out quickly, because I don't know what else to say about the defensive performance. You let them score on every possession. Dude, it hasn't happened since 77. I mean, we were so bad that we didn't even have them have the ball so they could take the knee to end the game. All right. I mean, that's where we were. So, yeah, this does not portend well for the rest of the year, in my opinion.
Evan, you're muted.
I appreciate Daniel. Bobby, you're the first one to know this. I was Daniel. I ran a show for 2 years called the Fins Bandwagon. I defended this team, even in spite of my issues with Mike McDaniel. What I see here is a mindset. Think about this. James Daniels is injured coming off an Achilles injury. Then now he has an ankle injury. Now he has a pec injury. Austin Jackson gets hurt. Jalen Waddle gets hurt. Storm Duck gets hurt. You know who the trainers and the medical staff, the Baptist Health reports to? Mike McDaniel. In the end, the front office, the decision making of the players, yes, is on Chris Greer, but we know he's a yes man. Mike McDaniel is the foundation of this team. He is the face of this franchise. So as long as he's the face of this franchise, who else should we blame? You can blame the quarterback, you can blame the head coach, and some of the star players. But when you have all these players, when's the last time, even in the Flores era, Bobby,
Sorry.
you hear players talk about how bad their experience was in Miami? Every player that leaves here talks poorly about their experience in Miami. The sign of things to come is that the way they played today, there's no one who should feel comfortable that a Vrabel team, because Vrabel has beaten the crap out of Mike McDaniel, doesn't matter who the quarterback is, multiple times each time in the last 2 years. Then you're going to Buffalo, who's actually not. By the way, Buffalo, which I already said had a bad defense. By the way, did me and Bobby and maybe Greg? I'm sure Sammy wanted him. Didn't we want Derrick Henry? Did Mike McDaniel not want Derrick Henry?
Derrick Henry wanted to be a Dolphin.
Do you know that Derrick Henry had 100 yards?
No, I don't. I saw that. Don't bring that up.
Okay,
Don't do it.
Okay?
Don't do it.
But Mike McDaniel doesn't need him. Mike McDaniel didn't bang the table for him. He banged the table for Tua. He banged the table for Jalen Wright when he did this. He banged the table for a little scat back in Devon Achane. But we don't need Derrick Henry. The guy who ran 1,800 yards like Ricky Williams, maybe he should go back. You know the last guy who ran 1,800 yards? By the way, this is a Dolphins trivia question for you, Bobby. Who's the last guy you could remember who ran for 1,800 yards with a really poor offensive line? Before Derrick Henry. You know who his name? His name was Ricky Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to know, maybe he should look back at the lore and realize that a star running back could overcome the issues you have with your quarterback. Because you know what? Everyone seems to forget the success of Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee had a lot to do with Derrick Henry. The success of Jalen Hurts last year, he's a great quarterback, is as a result of who? Saquon Barkley. So all I'm going to say is the sign of things to come is if they continue down the path of Mike McDaniel and Tua and the consistency that exists right now, this team will likely be a 4 to 5 win team, pick top 2 or 3 in the draft, and we'll see. If the team wants to shake up this team, they have to do something. Because we all know this. When you fire a head coach, the team mindset changes. You need a philosophy change. It's falling on deaf ears. The guy walks in, and I guarantee you, someone there, I guarantee every person in the locker room is recording what Mike McDaniel says when he comes in and talks to the team in the classroom or in the locker room, and they're asking ChatGPT to translate what he said, because none of us understand a word that guy says. But no offense to the people who play for the Dolphins. Most NFL players, and this is not a knock on them, they're all successful people. Congratulations. A lot of them don't stay in college. A lot of them are highly educated. Mike McDaniel is talking to them like they went to MIT for 4 years or Harvard and talks in word salads and combinations and God knows what. No one understands him. That's the frustration for me. Is that the sign of the things to come is the fact that Bobby's laughing in the comments on a day that should be dark and gloomy for him, but now he's come to the dark side of realizing that Mike McDaniel is not a head coach. It's a pleasure to hear that on a recording officially. Sammy, it didn't even take you and me 60 minutes. It took us today 2 minutes into the first game of the year to Bobby to be on your and my side that Mike McDaniel is not a head coach. So all to say to everyone here, I want the Dolphins to win. I want them to be successful. But as long as you don't pull the ripcord on either Greer, McDaniel, or Tua, nothing's going to change. The difference is that Tua has the ability to go somewhere else and be successful. Greer is at the edge of retirement.
Oh, all right, Josh.
But Mike McDaniel is the one guy who needs to go back to high school, needs to go back to Billy Madison, go back to grade 1, learn to tie your shoes tight and your lunch packed, and things will be all right. Maybe when he goes back to high school, a week of every single thing, maybe he can come back in one day and be a head coach. But as long as Mike McDaniel is our head coach, back to school to teach my daddy I'm not a fool, but you are a fool, Mike McDaniel. And Miami, us fans, if we continue to drink the Kool-Aid and continue to live in a fantasy land that this team is going to overcome this. Daniel made a comment. New York Giants 0-2. Bobby, you know who their head coach was?
Tom Coughlin.
Had Tom Coughlin taken an expansion team, the fastest guy to take an expansion team to
Jacksonville
the
Jaguar. Yep.
Who was with a veteran coach, a veteran head coach, a veteran quarterback, and Mark Brunell.
Mm-hmm.
How do you even compare the two? You had Michael Strahan.
I understand it, but no, you're right.
You had Plexico Burris. You had Tiki Barber. You don't have that team.
I appreciate you, Daniel. Thank you for tuning in, brother.
And by the way, Mike, I remember a game where I forget what was his name. I forget the guy's name who played for Buffalo. I forget after a year winning a Super Bowl, the New England Patriots went into Buffalo and lost 35-0. But Bill Belichick was their head coach, a guy who's been a head coach multiple times and had already won a Super Bowl. We can't stop. We need to do the stopping of comparing who was 0-2, who was this, who has Justin Herbert, who has Jordan Love, who drafted Dan. We're in the reality now. And the one thing that is true, as long as, and Greer should be fired. The thing is that as long as there's a Brian Flores lawsuit, as long as he is there, he's Teflon Don. He's been there for 10 years. He ain't going nowhere. Mike McDaniel is the easiest scapegoat. The difference is that Mike McDaniel has done it to himself. And I feel bad for like they did on Vince Faithful, apologizing to all these super fans who travel. I feel bad for the Zach Sealers. I feel bad for the Bradley Chubbs. I feel bad for the Minka Fitzpatricks because foundationally they were not ready, but they're not a scary team. You want to know why Aaron Rodgers was excited to go to Pittsburgh? Because Mike Tomlin's the head coach. TJ Watt is there. Cam Hayward is there. Dogs are there. We don't have any dogs. We have pussycats, led by the greatest pussycat of the history of the world.
What's new, pussycat? Whoa, 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 whoa. Sorry.
You know how Ric Flair does the limousine riding?
Sorry.
We should make up a sting about the capri wearing, oversized glasses wearing.
Ooh, I like that.
Hoodie 100-degree wear. The guy is an absolute laughable joke. He's an April Fool's joke. He's an April Fool's joke. By the way, poor game, new season, I'd be nervous about him. I'd be puking in the bathroom, worried about my job. What's he doing? I'm going to pick up my girl in the air and swing her in the air right 10 minutes before the game. Like it's a party. It's my party, and I'll cry if I want to. The guy doesn't cry because he's too busy in his play call sheet.
Go ahead, Greg. What were you going to say very quick?
I was just going to say, Ray Finkel's cracking me up.
Oh, I got to say, the comments have been stop this, Bobby. The comments have been awesome, and I really do appreciate all the comments. And I've been live through a flu. I've been live through a tornado warning. I've stayed live through a lot of things.
I love this comment.
People take, there's off seasons for some people. There's no off season for me. So I appreciate the love and it's really cool. I don't care how, 0-17, 1 and whatever. I'm here until the end, brother. I appreciate all the love. It's all good, guys. Let's
Bobby looking at the 1-15 season on his phone to cheer him up. That was
that killed me.
That's like the comment of the week.
That was just perfect. And I said it to my son asked me not too long ago. He's like, Dad, what's the greatest moment you've ever seen like that? For a
Bill M and the Greg Camarillo.
Well, I was gonna say, look, we could say it's the miracle, right, in Miami, the New England thing, but no, not really. I mean, I remember what I was doing that day. I was watching. I was with my daughter, and the Dolphins were about to lose. It was against the Patriots, and I remember my baby, my oldest now. No, my baby's like, Daddy, can we play? No, she went, Poppy, can I play? Because she. Sammy, she's called me every dad name in the book, and because my wife calls her father Poppy, my daughter would call me Poppy. It was first Dad, and Poppy, and I was Poppy for a long time. Now I'm, Dad. Now I'm Papa for my old. But she goes, Poppy, can we please play? And I said, honey, yeah, baby, we'll play. Just let me just watch this because I don't leave. I'll stay till the final minute. I don't care if we're getting blown out. even today. And so I remember I was watching, and all of a sudden I go, oh, look out, Gronkowski, and I was like, oh my God, I fell to my knees. It was amazing, but there was never a moment when Cleo Lemon, Camarillo in motion. I remember I was sitting on the couch at my grandparents' house in Indy, Atlantic, Florida, with my brother. And when Camarillo went in motion, and Cleo Lemon find Camarillo, and he went up to see him and beat Baltimore, I jumped on my couch. I was screaming. I was crying. I was like, we did it. We're not going in the record books for that one, baby. So, yes, I would watch that over again and enjoy that moment than anything I've seen recently now. But yeah, anyway, let's go around the league, if we will. And just a shout out to Fins TV and Fin Sammy's channel there. He's running the Pick'em League there. So it's a lot easier to keep track. I participated in the last year, and I always have it up on my screen. And so let's run through some of these games very quick, just to kind of react. And you guys could just react as we go. You just throw a comment in there, and we just keep going, okay? First one's first. The Cincinnati Bengals narrowly beat the Cleveland Browns 17-16. That caught me a little bit. I was like, okay, but again, I don't think the Bengals are going to be what most people think they're going to be. But they did win today. They got the job done. Miami didn't do that. We know how the Dolphins did. Excuse me. The Las Vegas Raiders defeat the New England Patriots 20-13. The Dolphins face the Patriots next week. And I guess that's a silver lining. If the Baltimore Ravens keep the score, every team in the AFC East is going to be winless. So, hey, as the great Jim Carrey would say, so you're telling me there's a chance. The Commanders defeat the New York Football Giants. How do you think the Giants feel? Well, they got Russell Wilson, and they go, we're getting rid of Daniel Jones. Woohoo! It's over. We picked Daniel over Saquon Barkley. We got rid of Daniel Jones. It's over. They go turn on TV today. They see, what the hell? Who is this quarterback in Indianapolis? Let's go watch our guy. Super Bowl champion. Dud. 6-21. The Commanders win there. The Arizona Cardinals take out the New Orleans Saints. Pittsburgh Steelers. Hey, you know what? Again, Jets lost. We love to see it. I know Russ hated it, but the Jets did put up a fight today. Justin Fields had himself it was a fun game, but the Pittsburgh Steelers and Aaron Rodgers take the victory 34-32. That was an exciting game over there. Tampa Bay 23-20 against the Atlanta Falcons. Duval. The Jaguars defeated the Carolina Panthers 26-10. The Denver Broncos beat the Tennessee Titans 20-12. The 49ers take the Seattle Seahawks 17-13. How about the Green Bay Packers taking out the Detroit Lions 27-13? I picked Green Bay. The Rams narrowly defeated the Houston Texans 14-9. And right now, the Buffalo Bills, Sammy, up 17-10 against the Baltimore up 17-10 against the Buffalo Bills. So there is the silver lining. Yes, mom is in the house tuning in from Hialeah, saying check in on Tristan's picks. Tristan told me earlier to check in on the picks too, so I will have to do that. No, I'm not going to say it again. DSG, Aaron Rodgers. I knew he was going to do that. I knew as soon as I saw the video, I was like, DSG will not let me hear the end of that. So, let's go very quick. Baltimore up 17-10. If they hold on to this victory, Sammy, does that make you feel better about Miami's chances this season?
Nope.
Okay.
What can I tell you?
To the point.
No, but what can I tell you? It would be, it would be fun to say at least everybody has a loss. Of course, that would be. But for a week, we can lie to ourselves and say, "Well, we're still in it." But at the end of the day,
there's still a chance. Is there any game, Greg, that surprised you today around the league? Minus Miami, of course.
I don't know about surprised. I was Las Vegas offense looked really good, and I mean I'm not breaking any news here, but Brock Bowers is a stud. Dude,
he's so good.
Guy can play. I was watching some of that game at the same time the Dolphins were on my split screen, and I was like, man, that guy just gets open whenever he wants. And Geno Smith might make that team dangerous. Granted, they played New England. New England's not good, but I was impressed with the way that team played today. And then the other one was Cincinnati. Cincinnati going on the road to Cleveland on week 1. That's not an easy place to play.
No, it's not.
That's not an easy win. And they hung tough, and they squeaked out a win on that one. So I was impressed by those 2 games early. And then Green Bay. Green Bay's defense.
Micah Parsons got a sack.
That could be scary with Parsons on it. And they, hey, that great Detroit offensive line couldn't block any of the anybody on Green Bay basically the entire game. So
no,
that team could be scary. I knew Micah Parsons would help them. I didn't think it'd be that immediate and that good.
it just tells you, and my condolences to Josh Wingate on the loss of Micah Parsons from the Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. Very quick, Evan, any game for you that surprised you today other than Miami's lopsided loss?
A couple things. If you look at the stat lines of a lot of the quarterbacks, the highest stat line was Geno Smith. So I'll get back to the Raiders in a second. Was the fact that for a lot of the pick'em games, the number 1 pick'em game of the week was the Denver Broncos, and the fact that the Titans stayed with them for most of the game was, for me, for a Titans team that's not expected to do much as a young roster, that impressed me a little bit. So the fact that the Titans held tough in Mile High, that's not an easy place to play. They only lost by 8, but it was a pretty tight game. It was nerve-wracking for quite a bit. If you're a pick'em guy, a lot of us took Denver today, so that was interesting. The fact that Cleveland once again is starting off slow. If you go look at the stat line, Joe Burrow had like 115 yards passing. That was disappointing. But the thing that I wanted to mention, and Bobby, today we're on record, a particular guy became the oldest head coach to ever coach an NFL game. His name is Pete Carroll. If someone were to tell you that coach on that sideline was the oldest coach in the league, that's a coach who is motivating his players. Running up and down the sideline, motivating them. Go, go, go. That's why the Raiders are going to actually have a chance this year in that AFC West. Not this guy. Zed Wright. This is what I'm talking about. We have one of the youngest head coaches in the league who's acting like an old curmudgeon on the sideline. And then we have the oldest head coach acting like a head coach. Like, the guy should not be watching film on how the players played on the field. He should be watching how head coach. That's what he should be getting film on. But for me, no, Tennessee staying in the game. But the one thing that surprised me today was how low scoring a lot of the games were. But like a lot of the games, 14-9 or 20-12, there weren't a lot of big scoring games. The highest shootout game, which I can't believe I'm actually vomiting on this, the person who surprised me the most today was Justin Fields. The fact that the Jets actually went into Pittsburgh and stayed with the Steelers today, and Aaron Glenn's first game with a new quarterback, to get to Garrett Wilson, he made some great throws today. Lo and behold, he threw the ball deep. What a surprise. You throw the ball deep to your best wide receiver. Craig, did you know that if you throw the ball deep to your best player on offense, your elite player, you actually might be successful? Did you realize that?
It's shocking, isn't it?
Isn't it shocking?
It's shocking.
That if you actually get the ball to your most dangerous player. Sammy, did you know that if you actually give the ball to your most dangerous players, you might actually have a chance to win? Why were they successful on offense today, Daniel Jones? Because who got the ball? Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren, and Jonathan Taylor. We were giving the ball to Devon Achane, maybe Alec Ingold, then Waddle on a hospital ball, then throwing over Tyreek's head on a honestly, Julian Hill, Tanner Connor. Like, do you understand that even Tanner Connor's play? Got to give credit to Tanner Connor. That was a beautiful catch because that was not a great throw by Tua. All I saw in the NFL today was that a lot of teams played bad today. A lot of people had cobwebs. But as bad as every team played, you can go to every single team and say, I saw something good. I saw Brock Purdy look good. I saw Geno Smith look good. Aston Genti got in the end zone. Tyler Warren did something. Kate McMillan did something. Every game was somewhat close. Like even if the Carolina Panthers, you saw something from a rookie. The only team that broke 2 records today, one from 1977 and one from this century, and lost by the most points, is our Miami Dolphins. So all I learned about the postgame around the league today was the fact that the Dolphins are right now on record the worst team in the NFL.
So I was gonna let Evan do his post game wrap up, but I think that was his post game wrap up that he integrated into his around the league segment.
I'm very good at that, eh?
You did perfect. So that is great. So that wraps up Evan's post game for today. And we'll get to Greg. Greg, it's week 1. Dolphins dropped the 0-1 on the season, losing in embarrassing fashion against the Colts. Nobody prepared, from Mike McDaniel to Anthony Weaver to Tua turnover by Loa. Just crazy. Again, how could you go into this game saying you're going to be more physical and Ollie Gordon only gets 2 balls? But it is week 1. What is your post-game wrap-up, sir? What is your final thoughts on today's game?
Well, and one of the things I was going to say about this game was, I am glad that Miami did get more physical this offseason because it played huge dividends today in this game. So
I love you, Greg.
Are
we at war with Canada? Oh, freaking Finkel.
Look, I'd like to dismiss this as a bad day. All right. I'd like to say it's week 1. It's early. It was a bad day. They'll get better. I don't have a whole lot of faith that that's going to happen. The holes that we identified on this team all summer long basically showed up today, and I think it's only going to get harder. So I don't know what's going to be moved forward. Evan's right. We need to throw the ball deep. I don't think we had one deep shot today. Tua had time to go deep. All of these little shallow crosses and basically, crossing patterns over the middle of the field with your fast guys. I said this after the Super Bowl. Sometimes offensive coaches just outthink themselves. Sometimes you just say, my fast guy, you run real fast all the way down the field and throw it as far as you can, and let's make a play. All right. Well, we got to do that. We got to open this up, and I would love to see Ollie Gordon get the ball more as a running back. Achane only had 7 rushes today, which is not bad, but Miami didn't run any plays, and it just there's a lot of bad that happened today that I got a feeling we're going to see a lot more this year.
There you go. Sammy, final thoughts, brother.
Nothing will make me happier than come here and receive tweets, messages, everybody saying you were wrong, you were a prophecy of disaster in week 1, and the Dolphins had a great season. Believe me, I will be glad. I will be happy. I will not care. I would be so happy I would probably not even remember how upset, how mad I am today. Because I will be so happy that I will just don't care. But that's playing against the odds. And we know the story because it's like riding a bike. You never forget. And you can it's gonna sound sexist, but it's the truth. After giving birth, most women say they will never have another kid because it's painful, because it's the greatest gift on earth, on the history of the world, to give birth to a kid. But for a woman, it's painful. It's a sacrifice in many ways of her life. But at the end of the day, they love their family so much that they have another kid and they're happy about it. being a Dolphins fan is basically like giving birth sometimes because the pain might be horrendous. For every single year, we'll come back here and we're ready to do it again. So right now is pain. Right now is embarrassment. And I'll be nothing more happier than in week 8, the Dolphins being 7-1, and everybody's making fun of me that was a profit or disaster, because usually I'm a positive guy. I love the Dolphins. I like to be positive, but I don't expect this to happen. I don't expect it to change. So my message to the whole community is enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey, not necessarily the destination. We have a lot of great fans. We love this team. We love each other. So let's make the best out of it, because the product on the field might not be the best, but we'll still have each other. So let's have the best season we possibly can.
Couldn't say it better myself. I will say, guys, it's only week 1. Thank you, Dolphins, for doing this now and not just stringing us along thinking there was any real hope. You know what I mean? He just let us know right away. No, this is going to be a long year. So, let's see how it goes. Bite the pillow. Shows would be better than the games. Yeah, that's right. But anyway, thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. This was great. I am so happy, truly, for this here to be back doing pregame and postgame with FinStanza. We love to drive each other crazy. We're going to do that all year. So grateful for Greg to join us and for Sammy to come on board with the pregame show and joining us for postgame. Because I asked earlier, and I know he's busy. He's like, oh, it's a crazy day. And then he messaged me. I'm at church. He's like, dude, can I come on postgame? I was like, yes. And Greg's like, yes. And I was like, okay. And I texted Evan. I'm like, let's go. So it's just, I hate the circumstances that we're here. But I'm just glad everyone's here. I appreciate everybody. I will, Adrian. Thank you all for tuning in, Dolphin fans. I know it's tough to say, and I know it's tough to feel this way. But first is first, like and subscribe. And as always, Dolphin fans, like I'm saying, it's tough to say it. It's tough to probably believe it. But fins up. Appreciate you all. Good night, everybody.